Hi friends, my name is Delia Mireya. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. In this video, I'm going to share with you guys how to make these cash envelopes. These are transparent cash envelopes with the stripe in the middle. I know that you guys are going to enjoy these envelopes as much as I am. Now, they do take a little bit of time to make, but don't worry because it's all going to be worth it. I'm sharing this video with you guys for the people that want to learn how to make these budgeting envelopes at home and you don't have to spend a lot of money in buying them, which I don't know how I can express what I'm trying to think in my brain. If you want to go out and buy them, that's totally understandable. Now, if you have most of the stuff that you're going to need at home and you have the time to make them, go ahead and keep watching this video because I'm going to share with you guys how to make them. I think they're very simple to do once you get the hang of it. I did have some issues that I ran into with the first time ever that I started doing my own transparent cash envelopes. One of the problems that I had was the transparent laminating sheets. I wasn't turning it in the correct way that you're supposed to be turning it. Now I'll explain a little bit more later on. I just wanted to also say, like, if you want to go out and support someone that's making these, it'll probably be worth it if you don't have the time to do it. But also if you want to personalize them and make them your own, I want to share with you guys on how to make them. A lot of the stuff that I have, I already had at home. I used to do a lot of crafts at home, so I have cardstock. You can always go to Michael's and buy the color of your choice, the ones that you want. If you don't have a laminator, you can always use the big thick tape. They do take a little bit more time to do. If you're going to be making lots of them, it's best and easier to use a laminator if you have one on hand. First of all, I'm going to take my laminating sheet, one that hasn't been used, of course, right? And I'm going to be cutting them in rectangles. Now, we're going to need the two sides. Those we're going to flip around. The side that is not transparent, the sides that slide, those are going to be together. So you're going to flip them around, but that'll be later on. For now, let's just get everything cut. All of your laminating sheets, cut them as much as you need. Then you're going to take the 1-inch stripe cardstock that you already cut. If you already wrote what you need for that budgeting envelope, it's great. If you have a Cricut, you can also use that, or you can write it in yourself just the way that I did. My handwriting is not perfect, but I just tried to do the best that I could. I used a pen and I would switch between the pen and a permanent marker. I'm going to be using a permanent double-sided Scotch tape. The reason why I use this is so my sheets won't be sliding off. Whenever I run it through my laminator, what would happen is they would just slide off. So I think this helps. I haven't seen anyone else do it. It's a little trick that I have that has worked for me. Now, if you're going to add the double-sided tape in between both of the laminating sheets, just add very little. That way you're able to open it and you're able to fit the dollar bills in. I mostly add the double-sided tape underneath and also where my label's going to go. I decided to just do 2 at first because I wasn't sure if I was going to fit a third envelope, which they do fit on one laminating sheet. You're able to fit 3 of them. After that, I cut it. Now, you don't want to cut too in where the edges are. If you do cut, it's going to end up opening the whole envelope. You just want to cut where the dollar bill is going to go inside. I'm going to be putting my holes, or I guess, what would you say? Just adding like the holes. I got a different budget sheet or budget envelope that I had, and I decided to use my marker or my pen to kind of trace where I wanted the holes to be punched. That way I can measure up and hole punch them all the same, right? Even though my budget envelopes are not perfect, and that's one of the reasons I would not sell these, because I don't feel that they're that great. I'm just making them to use them myself at home, and also wanted to share with you guys how I made them in case you are interested to make them at home. Now, the sizing for the inside of the laminating sheet is 6 inches and 1/4, and then 3 inches in width, length and width. I already wrote down the measurements for you guys. Now, once you cut them, you don't want to cut them that same size. You want to give it room for the area where you're going to be using your hole puncher to punch in the holes. You want to leave in some space. You also want to leave in some space on the edges, as I mentioned. Don't cut too in or the whole envelope will open and it's not going to work. I'm going to be adding my double-sided tape on my labels. That way, as I mentioned, they won't slide off. I'm sorry if I keep repeating myself. I just really want you guys to learn how to make these, and I don't want you guys making the same mistakes I made along the way. I guess what I was trying to explain when I had that brain freeze, or I wasn't really sure what I wanted to say, was that now that I'm actually doing these projects, my budgeting envelopes, and I've been making some savings challenges and trackers, that I'm making all this at home. It really does take up time, friends. I didn't know how much time was put into all of these projects until I was doing them at home. Whenever I looked up on Etsy for prices for budgeting envelopes, and I couldn't afford them because they were kind of pricey, right? But once you get to making them and you know that they do end up taking a lot of time to make these, then that's when you really appreciate the work that other people do. And when you end up spending whatever price that you pay for, then you're like, wow, this budget envelope is worth it, because it does take up time to do. It also takes up some patience, and you will probably be making a couple mistakes along the way, but it's totally okay. Just have patience. It's going to be worth it to make them your own and to have them personalized. Now, if you don't want to go through the hassle of making them, you can always purchase them on Etsy. There are so many different sellers that sell these. This is one thing that I will not be selling. I don't think my envelopes are that great. They're not perfect. Now, the hole punched, some of them are a little bit higher than the others, and I wouldn't want to sell something like this to you guys. I guess that's something that I was trying to explain, that now I really do appreciate all the sellers that are on Etsy that really put in all the work. It is work. Everything is work. Okay, let's continue on to making these budgeting envelopes. So what I did is I wanted to make sure with my pin that I was kind of tracing where I needed to cut, because I don't want to cut bad and then make the envelope all crooked. So I was also putting the dots where I wanted the holes to be punched. Now, something I would recommend you guys to do, that way you guys don't make the same mistake that I did, was to get at least 2 or 3 envelopes at the same time and hole punch them the same. That way you don't mess up like I did. Well, friends, that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys for sticking around to the end of this video, for showing all that love and support, hitting that like button. Let me know in the comments below also if you already tried making these budget envelopes, how they worked for you. Thanks so much. May God bless each and every one of you guys. I think that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye-bye.